Hey, American contractors, viewers of the American Contractor Show. I'm here with John Dye at Win the Storm, and I have to tell you, anyone that is associated with American Contractor Show, you are a badass.
Big shout out to American Contractor Show. If you don't know, you definitely need to check out the Storm Summit. They're doing it in excellence. Check them out.
Hey, what's up? This is your friend, Francisco Serrano. If you haven't checked it out, American Contractor Show, YouTube channel, Facebook channel, Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms, you need to go them, like them, start learning about your craft.
Hey, I'm Matt Danskin with Restoration Referral System. Check out the American Contractor Show. The truck that they've got is awesome. Everything else that they have going on.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Merlin Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the for changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I, as a contractor, appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor who's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
Good Saturday afternoon, everyone. I'm lead meteorologist John Choquette here, and we're here on a Saturday, which means we have some storm chances across the country today. Thanks as always to our sponsors, C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and American Contractor Show. They're in the description below. You just saw their commercials. You can also check them out in the link below as well. Thanks as always for making it so all this is possible here. Big thing we have is our first 5-star map. It happened yesterday. You're watching our live coverage yesterday. We had our first 5-star in almost 60 days. The last one was on May 3rd of this past year. Des Moines got a 5-star. St. Louis ended up getting a 4-star map later on in the evening with a lot of big hail yesterday. And we have more hail expected today, possibly another little event here. We'll kind of see how that goes. Hail's possible from Oklahoma all the way to Illinois. And finally, it looks like the wind is going to be a bigger threat for today. So we could see winds upwards of 75 miles an hour in some spots, and we'll go over that as well. So we got some events coming up here. You guys know the deal. We've talked about it a few times. The 2021 FRSA Convention and Expo. This is going to be at the Gaylord Palms Resort and Convention Center in Kissimmee, Florida on July 21st through 23rd. That's going to be in a couple weeks here. It's going to be down in Florida. Come check it out. Come say hi to us. Come find out more about Hail Trace. August 4th is our next event. This one's going to be in Grapevine, Texas. A pretty small one. It's only going to be from 10 to 2 on August 4th in Grapevine, Texas. That's the NTRCA mini trade show. We'll be there. Truck won't be there, but we will be there. Come check us out at that. And of course, the big event that we have coming up is our event, the charity event for roofers in recovery, the Thunder Road Race for Recovery. It's going to be at the Oklahoma Motorcycle Complex in Norman, Oklahoma. The link's in the description below. You come sign up. If you want to race, these go-karts go about 55 miles an hour. They are no slouches. You can really take off with these. You're guaranteed a couple races. If you are in racing in this, you can be a sponsor. You can race. Winners get prizes, the food trucks, music, all kinds of fun stuff, and 100% of those proceeds go to roofers in recovery. So it should be a great event. Again, a link in the description below if you want to be a sponsor, or if you want to just sign up and race, that link will lead you to both. So go that out. So yesterday we had a ton of storm reports. We actually had over 100 for the first time in quite a while. At least about half of those were in the Des Moines area around lunchtime, where we had up to that 3-inch hail fall. And then we also had hail, for some reason it's not showing it in the St. Louis area, but we had St. Louis. We had a bunch of big time hail in the Nebraska Panhandle. So a lot of storms happening yesterday. And with that, we had our first, again, 5-star map. Our hailstorm highlight graphic's been pretty quiet here for the last month or so, but we got that 5-star in the Des Moines area. This is probably the most big hail over a large amount of time in many years here. We haven't had a 5-star map since Hail Trace has been in existence here in Des Moines. So kind of a big deal. Up to 3-inch hail, about 77,000 homes were impacted. This was certainly not like the Norman storm or the Keller storm from this year. Those are almost 6-star maps for how incredibly damaging they were. But nonetheless, an area that has not been hit in quite some time. So you can definitely go check that out, Des Moines, Urbandale, and Woodward. We also made that 4th. This was much later in the evening where we weren't able to do live coverage of this. The storm formed essentially on top of the St. Louis Metro, eased to the south, and had up to near tennis ball size hail in sections of the St. Louis suburbs, making a 4-star map here. Creve Cuillere, I probably butchered the hell out of that name, in Maryland Heights. That's where you probably saw the majority of that big hail. Up to that tennis ball size, about 31,861 homes were impacted by that. That's a 4-star map. Again, St. Louis hasn't seen too many storms the last couple of years either. So areas outside of Texas and Oklahoma getting some big-time hailstorms. And this is the first time we've had anything of real significance since the Indianapolis storm in mid-June. So again, we've had some big gaps here between when big storms have happened. So that brings our storm report totals yesterday. Again, we had over 100 hail reports for the first time in quite a few weeks here, 109 as of right now. Again, almost half of that was in the Des Moines area. Had 1 tornado out in far rural parts of Nebraska. And 374 wind reports. I didn't have it in our hailstorm highlight because we got to make a windstorm highlight. We had a pretty intense wind event through Omaha late last night. Chances are you're not watching us from Omaha. It looked like about 90% of the city lost power with that, with winds over 70 miles an hour. That's a little bit of a preview of what we might be seeing coming up here for today, but that's why we had so many wind reports yesterday. Bringing our total, we're going to get close to 4,000 here hail reports. But we're running, I mean, you guys know the drill. We're running way behind from last year. So it's been quiet, but, you know, kind of that surgical precision of when we get storms, they at least seem to hit people. So you always got that going for us this year. So current conditions across the country right now, Elsa is no more. So the big focus here is just the leftovers of the storms that actually caused all that strong wind in the area, moving off to the east of Springfield, setting that stage for storms today across portions of Kansas, Missouri, and into Oklahoma. Actually seen some showers already trying to form up by the Wichita area here as of about 1 o'clock. And temperatures, again, it's July, it's plenty warm. Well, it's plenty warm, but it's below normal for what we normally see here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in mid-July. And it's only 79 degrees in Kansas City and Denver, and not even 90 yet in Dallas. So kind of continuing that trend of it's pretty cooler than normal across the Central Plains. And we still have plenty of instability. Since it is July, there's a lot of moisture in the air. Again, you guys saw that rain already happening. And we're going to have a lot of potential energy at about 5 o'clock today to have that potential for some big-time storms. However, this time around, it's less in the big-time hail and more the potential energy available to cause really strong winds. I think storm mode today is going to be a little messy, but it will organize more for a wind threat than a hail threat as we move later in the evening. See here in central Oklahoma, those bright colors really showing that available energy for the storms. And then as we move through the evening, you can't even tell where that rain's moving through as it's eating up all that potential energy, making it into kinetic energy. So it looks like we'll have quite a few storms around the area. This is the future radar. We bring it up to about 4 o'clock here, and we have a lot of stuff firing off in Missouri, south of Kansas City, and extending all the way back towards Wichita at about 4 o'clock. And then as we push forward to about 6 o'clock, notice how storms, they were initially isolated near Wichita, but now already turning into a bit of a line of storms along that Kansas-Oklahoma border and extending off to the east by Joplin and Springfield. We have likely hail initially. So these storms are going to start off kind of isolated. They're going to go up real fast, go up real big, real quick, take up all that energy, and drop out some hail. But as we push forward, it'll organize into a line of storms, much like we saw in Omaha late last night, then transition from hail to strong winds. So when exactly that happens, where the storms form, that's going to really determine that potential for your hail. And we can't also forget there will be some storms up here as well near Kansas City. These have a much better hail potential because they're more likely to stay isolated. So Kansas City, you do have that chance for hail. Here along the I-44 corridor, much better chance for strong winds, and again, initially some hail. And this particular model run has about 10 p.m. That's when storms are going to be ripping across Oklahoma City, maybe ripping across Tulsa a little bit earlier. And could have some real intense winds here across Oklahoma and into Missouri with that. And then once we get past about midnight, things are going to be rapidly shifting off to the south, and by daybreak tomorrow, these storms will be moving into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as most likely just a wind threat. So what's that maximum hail size potential for today? You guys haven't figured from what I've been saying here, probably about golf ball size, those initial developing storms, along with that potential for some more isolated storms up by Kansas City. That's really your best chance for that golf ball size hail. I think more likely folks are going to be seeing strong winds and heavy rain. Probably a pretty menacing looking shelf cloud coming through. That's the big cloud, big dark skies racing to the south. That's probably what you're going to be seeing in central Oklahoma this evening here. So there's that hail forecast for today. Got a couple areas that we're highlighting here. I have that moderate chance across Kansas City. It does look like there will be some storms moving through that metro area this evening with the potential up to some golf ball size hail. These storms could extend as far north as Omaha, Nebraska this afternoon, and possibly as far east as St. Louis. So you got low chances for both. But the meat and potatoes of this risk is really, again, going to be from about Wichita. I think storms are going to form just to your south, so you got that low chance. And then where I have highlighted in the orange here is my idea of where exactly the storms are going to initially form and have that biggest hail. And then once we get to Oklahoma City, Tulsa, I think it's fairly likely, got that moderate chance, is for Oklahoma City and Tulsa for at least some quarter-size hail. But again, I think that wind risk is going to be a little more significant here across central Oklahoma, which we're highlighting right now. You see that higher wind potential. It's not going to be up to 95, I think maybe 75, 80 miles an hour is going to be your biggest wind potential here. So if you're going out on Grand Lake or the other lakes, Keystone and all the lakes here that are highlighted in this, I don't know all the lakes in Oklahoma, you might want to keep an eye on the sky this afternoon because we could see some pretty intense winds much later on with these storms. The wind risk in Omaha and Kansas City are probably fairly low. I think a higher chance for some hail, if anything. And where I have it hatched here is, again, that most significant risk, where I'm most likely going to see that strong winds with even stronger winds here from probably about El Reno to the generally around Springfield, Joplin area for this evening after likely just after dark. So after 7, 8 o'clock, and then through about midnight is when you're going to see that strongest winds. Again, the best chances for the I-40 corridor here in Oklahoma, where the majority of the population of the state is. So breaking it down even further to different cities here for the city forecast for Oklahoma City, between about 7 p.m. is your earliest. So say storms form in like Guthrie instead of up by the border, then yeah, you'll get the storms moving through Oklahoma City a little earlier, or through 12 a.m. if they end up forming right by Wichita and then moving down to the south. Up to some ping pong ball size hail is going to be your absolute maximum. That's going to be if storms stay isolated as they move through the metro. And that would, again, be probably the more northern section. So think your Guthrie, your Edmond, Piedmont, so much Norman if you're in the Oklahoma City area for up that ping pong ball size hail. More likely around quarters, pretty low chance of anything more than ping pong ball size hail for Oklahoma City. And I also have city forecast here for Kansas City. It's going to be a little earlier, between 7 and 10 p.m. And these are going to be primarily a hail threat. So you could have that chance for some hail up to golf ball size, that moderate size hail, moderate chance of at least some quarters somewhere in the metro here in the Kansas City area. But I think overall a lower chance of that golf ball size hail. The potential's there, but I think you probably have a better chance of seeing around some quarter size hail here in Kansas City. Especially, I know a lot of people who watch us know that every time I say anything about Kansas City, I seem to jinx it. So we'll see how this all plays out this evening. And all the other cities at risk here, from Oklahoma City to Tulsa to Springfield, all generally about the same risk. You have that moderate chance of around quarter size hail, probably more intense chance of that strong winds. Kansas City a little bit lower just because it's kind of conditional to those storms forming separate from this line. Omaha, I think storms may form to the south of you, and Wichita, I think storms may also form to the south of you, so that should keep the risk moderately low versus places like Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Springfield. So that's really all I really have for you guys today. It's just a quick today update for the area and kind of recapping storms yesterday. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of that great stuff. It's all simply at HailTrace. If you have any other questions, you want to set up and get ready, for any big storms that happened yesterday or possibly for storms today, give us a call, 855-334-4245. It's the weekend, but much like Mother Nature, we don't rest. So we'll be answering the phones and answering questions you may have, especially over the phone, over email, or on our website as well. You can message us directly through our website. So thanks for tuning in on this Saturday afternoon, guys. We'll see you again most likely on Monday for our daily forecast, unless something really goes crazy tonight, and we may see us for some live coverage. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.